Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Ori. I am your host, Ori, and I am coming live from Food Alchemy Network, Dr. D's line. Today, I want to talk about family, family values, family stuff, family prayer, just family in general before the holidays, because it's something that we need to talk about because we often neglect these things. I'm one of them. So I just want to make sure that everything is being said. Okay. You know, as years have gone by, I noticed that there's a lot of people in the world, I'm not even going to just say minorities, people in general in the world. Um, Growing up, I went through a series of realizing that, you know, um, Caucasian people have a tendency of thinking about their children, and not just Caucasian, Asians as well, where once their children graduate from college, they want their child to just go out into the world and see the world, and I understand that. I mean, I don't mock anybody for that, but sometimes the child is not ready. Sometimes the child is not ready to be on their own. They don't have the mentality to be on their own. Not because you didn't give them the right tools, but because in the process of it, he or she might have become codependent. So when people are codependent, it's very difficult for you to try to push them out and demand things that may seem to them as if it was demanding, but it really isn't. Sometimes you have to explain it to people, especially young people. You have to explain it to them like 4 or 5 times until they get it. Because although they may be smart, psychologically smart and book smart, doesn't mean that they really are smart. Sometimes they're smart and stupid at the same time. I don't like the word stupid, but that's the only word that comes to mind right now. So they can be smart and stupid at the same exact time. So, they can, that with that being said, they can act as they are entitled, when in reality, we already know what entitlement means. And sorry, I don't think that you're entitled. Um, for those of you who don't speak to their mothers or their fathers or their siblings, you may have a reason why you don't. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to judge anyone. I am just here to remind you that life is limited. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Make sure that if you choose to walk away, that you have all your ducks in a row, that you are not going to need them for anything, that you are not walking away because you're being spiteful, but you're walking away because you're healing yourself. And it is okay to go backwards. It is okay to say, I need to talk to you, or I need to have a conversation about things that went on. And if they choose not to participate in the conversation, then it is up to you to either choose to stay or choose to walk away. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do. Nobody can make you feel any way that you want to feel. Some people feel that family is everything. And even in the best of families, there's always bad situations. And sometimes holidays bring out the worst in people rather than the best in people. So for this holiday, I want everybody to embrace yourself. embrace the day. Every day is it's a holiday for me. To me, there's not one single day that I don't look at as if it's a day to give. I believe that every single day is a day of giving. It's a day of progressing. It's a day of moving forward, giving to people. So don't wait until a holiday comes so that you can start becoming a giver. Give things to people that you care about when they're alive. Do the best you can while they're alive. Write them, call them, reach out. And I'm not good with any of those things, but you know what? The minute someone calls me and they wish me anything, even a great day, or they just text me and say, you know what, have a great day, that makes my day. It makes me feel really good. I mean, I've always been the way that I am. I think the only person besides Dr. D that I socialize with on a regular was my godmother. And when she passed away, I didn't mourn, I didn't cry because I didn't feel that I needed to, because her and I had a great relationship. Now, what I can tell you is my mourning process about my godmother did not take place until 3 years later in where I used to live in Palm Springs. And it was Christmas Eve, and I know that I broke down, and I woke up on the floor in front of my Orishas because I broke down, and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't breathe. And I just felt like I was going to have a seizure, but it was just, I needed to mourn. I guess they felt that I needed to mourn, and I mourned her that way. But the next day I woke up and I felt fine. I felt alleviated, as if I removed a building from my shoulders, So when I say these things, I want to remind you that scripture says that we have a family. We're born with a family. But sometimes we call strangers family because they're the ones who have been there. They're the ones who have picked us up. They're the ones who have dusted us off. And they're the ones who have pushed us to become better than what we are. And for those people, I share every day and blessings every day, because if it were not for the kindness of strangers when it comes to me, I know that I would not have survived. I know that I would not have made it as far as I have, So I'm very grateful. This is a year of gratitude. And it's not that I wasn't grateful before. It was just that I wasn't grateful to myself. I wasn't happy with myself. Hey, Yete. So because I wasn't happy with myself, it was kind of difficult for me to be happy with everyone else, or not be appreciative, but not speak about it. I always felt that when I give, I don't talk about it. I just give. And I think that is the way that all people should be. But there are people that give and they want accolades at the process, and that's fine too. But again, like I said, if it were not for the kindness of strangers, I would not be here right now, and I would not be talking to you, and I would not be traveling the world the way that I do, and meeting great people and doing the things that I want, by myself, and not having those worries. One of the worries I have is the worries of the bags under my eyes. And, as you get older, this little thing here, but soon, you'll see as time goes on that everything will start to stretch a little and look a little better, So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, first, I want to wish you a happy holiday, all of you. Happy holidays. I want you to find that joy, that peace, that understanding, that peace of mind that you're looking for. I want you to count your blessings, all of them. Put them down on paper. Excuse me. How many blessings do I have? Have I been given? Or am I given? Write them down. And as you write them down, don't forget to write, I am grateful because of this. I'm grateful for that. I am grateful for this. You don't have to be grateful to anybody but the universe. Start getting into the habit when you look at yourself, you remind yourself that you are a bad bitch, male or female. Start looking at yourself as, I've achieved a lot. I am my own hero. I am my own mentor. I am my own achiever. I am the person who has picked myself up. Give yourself accolades. You don't need anybody else to give them to you. You need them, you give them to yourself, because no one knows you better than you. No one knows you better than your spirit. Nobody knows you better than the universe. And nobody knows you better than God, spirit, angels, and guides. Nobody knows you better than them. So we have to take that leap of faith and walk alongside of them and understand that for every blessing, yes, there might have been some type of sadness that came after the blessing or even before the blessing. But then there is a blessing. So for all of you who have gotten upset with your parents for no apparent reason, just because you wanted to know more than them. You will never know more than your parents unless, I'm not talking about education-wise, I'm talking about life. Your parents have been there, they were a child, they're grown, and sometimes we pay for their sins, but sometimes we don't. So at the end of the day, you have to be living in gratitude and trying your best. You can't just run away because someone is telling you, oh, well, you can't go out tonight. Do you ever stop to think that maybe they're telling you that for a reason? Maybe they're not telling you to hold you prisoner or hostage. Maybe they're telling you because it's something that they feel. So think about that for you people out there who have left their homes for no reason at all, who have walked away from their families for no reason at all, that the people who have created lies about things that have happened to them when they have not happened to them, to cause problems between the parents, whether it's the mother's boyfriend, the mother's lover, the father's lover, the father's girlfriend, it doesn't matter. Take a step back, analyze what you've done, and then ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing and what have I done? And how am I going to move forward? Well, the one thing that I can tell you is there are a lot of people in the world right now that are going through so many crises. And part of the crisis has a lot to do with COVID. A lot of people in the world have lost their parents and have lost their children. And they will not have a happy holiday this year. They will mark these days as being taboos, and they will not celebrate Thanksgiving. They will not celebrate Christmas. All they would do is just become very distant and probably get mad at God, because I know I would. And they will just probably become silent and just move on, ignoring everything else because they feel that it is the best thing for them to do. Now, whatever the case may be, the same way that I tell you guys that, making peace with people that really want the best for us, but they just don't know how to act. And there are parents, we have to learn to let the past go. as long as they're not doing the same crap over and over and over. But if they are, you need to check them. And once you check them, they should be fine. And if you don't, they're not fine, then you need to check them again. Because the only way that they're going to learn is if you keep checking them, making sure that they understand the damage that they're doing. Because sometimes sometimes parents can become ignorant. And something that I have written down that I find to be so great is something that is written which says, ignore the ignorance of the ignorant. And I think that's classic. Ignore the ignorance of the ignorant. Because I think that sometimes people, and it happened a lot when we were voting, the ignorance, the stupidity, the hearsay, a lot of this hearsay and problems that we have now in our lives, a lot of it stems from the churches, from how we grew up. You have to believe, we have to believe in the priests or the ministers as if they were gods. They're not gods. They don't speak for God. They do not speak for God. They think they do. They can read. I think a child can read the Bible and interpret it in a better way, because children have the mentality where they just want peace and they want love. And that's basically what God wanted, peace and love. But yet again, we're not reverting to the New Testament. We're reverting to the Old Testament, because like I keep telling people, I read the Quran. So based on the Old Testament, we have a wrathful God. And when he don't like shit, he's going to make shit happen. When he don't like things that you do, he's going to stop you and he's going to let you know that's not the way. Sometimes it takes you to lose everything and everyone in your life so that you can see who you are or where you are. And people don't understand that. Wives can lose their husbands, especially if they have good husbands, good men in their house. The same thing as women. Men can lose women. Men can lose really good women because men sometimes don't think. And as this generation is getting more in tune and it's embracing the negative, because they don't know any better, because they don't know how to handle the vibration, so they just tend to gravitate to the negative. Well, those people will get hit with karma really, really, really super big. And karma is not taking its time as it used to. Karma used to take a long time, and now it doesn't. Karma doesn't take its time anymore. Karma hits you faster than it ever did. So there are parents out there, there are mothers out there that create drama with their children, with their children's partners, with their children's girlfriends, with their son, with their daughter's boyfriend, for no reason at all. They just create a problem because they don't like the person who they're being with. But not everybody is put on this earth to be liked by you. If you don't like someone, that's your problem. If your parents don't like the person you're dating and you're old enough, that's their problem. It has nothing to do with you. I think on the psychological level, parents are kind of messed up because they actually believe the hype that they raise us so that we can take care of them. And they forget that whatever choices they made in life, that they could not take care of themselves, or they don't have the finances to take care of themselves in their age, it has nothing to do with you. People should have gotten involved in the 401k. People should have worked. People should have invested. People should have done whatever so that you don't have to worry about your children taking care of you. So that's wrong. I find that to be false. I think that we can do for our parents the best that we can, But the minute our parents start to try to dominate us and put us in a category whereas we are different than them because they're better than us, then it's time to walk away and let it go and move forward. No tea, no foul. You don't have to do any harm. The harm that's going on, it's going to be done by them. You don't have to be by your parents because they don't like gay people and you're gay and they don't want to be around you. Then you know what? They're losing out on an amazing person, not you. So you think about it that way, just like when you lend somebody money, you lend someone $20, you lend someone $30, $40, they don't pay you, don't get upset. You paid $30, $40, $50 to get rid of them. That's what their worth was. Nothing. So those $30, $40, or $50 that you gave them or you lent them, you're going to multiply it. God is going to multiply it for you because at the end of the day, the injustice is only about money. It's only about paper. And you have to understand that money has many faces. So the same way that money has many faces, people have many faces as well. You have to always look at people, analyze them, ask yourself, if I lent this person the Tupperware bowl, did they give it back to me? Or do they still have it? I lent this person a book. Does the person still have it? Or did the person give it away to someone else? I've had that happen to me many times, where I've lent people books and they've given it to somebody else. Or lent it to someone else without letting me know. And then at the end, when looking for the book, I can't find it. I go back to the person and they're like, oh, I lent it out to so-and-so. No. See, that's why I don't lend things out. And, with that being said, it's even like with children, it's a learned behavior. If you have a child and your child is in the park and you guys are playing and your child is playing with a car and somebody else's child comes up to you or the mother and says, can my child play with your child's toy? No, they can't. They can't. Why? Because my child is playing with it right now and my child is enjoying it. So when my child is finished, then you may borrow it and your child may play with it. But as long as my child is playing with it, no, you cannot have it. I'm not going to take from my child and teach them that it's okay to give everything you have and stay with nothing. That's a no-no. So these things I'm telling you are for the new year. Start the new year with forgiveness, not for them, for yourself. Start the new year with letting go of bullshit, not for them, for yourself. Start to let go of the nonsense, not for them, for you. Start to let go of arguments at home, not for them, for you. And if the arguments can't stop, then get up, get dressed, and get the hell out of there. Because there's no reason for you to be a hostage in a situation that was not created by you. Remember that. We all fall, but we all will rise back. There's a lot of changes coming. And this is just part of it. And this is what I'm saying, family sticks together. And the family that sticks together will move forward. But sometimes family doesn't have to be blood family. Sometimes they can be other type of family. So whatever the case may be, hang on to that. Make the phone call. I know I will be making a lot of phone calls on Christmas Eve because, you know what? I pulled away from a lot of people, but I had my reasons why I did it. But even though I've learned to let go. I've learned to feel better and good about me. I've learned that nobody is as important to me than me. I've learned that I'm not here to look nice for everybody. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to look at me and they're going to say, oh my God, he's tired or he looks wasted. I'm not wasted. I look tired because, I'm a diabetic and we're not always going to look pretty, and we're always going to go through some type of emotional stuff that will create a problem for us. So with that being said, like I said, a little nip and tuck, a little pull here and there, that's the new year. It's the new me. It's a new thing coming. It's not a big deal. So at the end of the day, I've had to make choices, and I've had to make peace in myself, because I have allowed myself to bully myself. And that is something that we cannot continue to do in our lifetime. We have to move forward in order for things to shift the way we want to. It is 9:29. We're going to commercial now. And once we are done with commercial, we're going to do a meditation. And it's not going to be long, 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 long. So we're going to do a meditation just so that we can let go of all that pain we carry. Okay? Now we're going to commercial. Well, welcome back. This is Ori, your host. I want to start out the way that I always start out, which is taking deep breaths and then holding it and then releasing it at least 3 times. Let's work on that. And basically, what we're going to be pushing out today from our breath, it's just going to be like, ah. And the reason that we're using the ah is because we are purging. So we're purging so that when the next time we see each other, you would have had a great holiday, and you will be able to start anew, so that for the end of the year, you'll start with something different. So let's begin. I want you to take a deep breath. First, make sure that your body's erect, because it's very important for your body to be very erect. Okay. Secondly, I want you to take a deep breath through your nose, as deep as you can. And I want you to hold it. And I want you to hold it. And I want you to hold it. Now I want you to release it slowly through your mouth, not in a rush. Now I want you to take a deep breath again, as deep as you can. And I want you to hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And release with your mouth. Slowly. With this last breath, I want you to make your mind percolate like a coffee pot, thinking about all the things that you wish for the holidays, all the goodness you wish on people. If you want to pray, while you release in your mind, you can for the souls, for all these beings that have died, family members that have died, cousins and great aunts and sons and daughters, and all the people that have family that have died because of this disease, and just feel that like they're alone. No one is alone, and no one should be alone. So I want you guys to take a deep breath, as deep as you can, and then I want you to purge it, okay? I will start, so you just follow me. Deep. Again, take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Again, take another deep breath, as deep as you can. Every chant has a vibration. Every vibration has power. Every power that we diffuse or infuse is sent out to the universe. Okay. I've learned to do Ponopono, and I actually love it. And I do it every day. I do it anytime I get a chance. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I say it first thing in the morning. I say it in the afternoon. I say it at nighttime. I say it every single day without fail. I say this. And to me, it has become my Our Father who art in heaven. Okay. So, I mean, although it is this way, I've changed just one aspect of it, which is talking about gratitude. So the first thing when I wake up and I open my eyes, the first thing I say is, I'm sorry. The second thing that you say is, please forgive me. The third thing that you say is, I love you. I started saying, I live in your gratitude, and everything that surrounds me and everything that you provide for me on a regular basis, everything from my health to my financial being. Thank you, and may I have some more. That is what I do. You can do it the regular way, which is just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I love you, thank you. But I choose to add, because the universe is so huge, and God is, should I say, God has the power to show you he's God. So as I was doing Ponopono, I started to realize that I needed to change it to me, to fit me, because that whole, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and I love you for what? What did I do? Did I do something bad? No. But after I started to say that I'm grateful, I realized that I needed to structure it for myself, not because of what I'm waiting for, but what God, spirits, angels, guides, the universe has provided already. So because of that, it made me aware that Ponopono is the Our Father who are in heaven. It's just cut short, which is, I'm sorry. You're saying that you're sorry, but you're saying that you're sorry for things that either you've done, you're doing, or you will do. It has no boundaries. It has no boundaries with time. Also, please forgive me. So you're asking for forgiveness for something that you haven't done, or maybe you have, for things that you're thinking that you should not be thinking, for things that are around you that should not be around you, or things that are about to come that should not be around you. Either way, that's where the forgiveness comes in. I love you. Well, do you love yourself? Do you love your spirits, angels, and guides? Do you love the fact that you know that there's a higher being watching over you? Do you love the idea that there is something that, like a supernova that watches us, that lives for us, that fills us every single day, that does not let us fail, only pushes us harder? Because failure is not an option. We fail because we choose to fail. Because there's a lot of us that are afraid to succeed and don't know what it is to truly succeed. They've succeeded to a certain degree, like I have, and then I've lost it, and then I got it, and then I lost it. And like I said, if it were not for the kindness of strangers, I would not be here. And this is why I say, I love you. And then I say, I live in your gratitude. I live in gratitude of all the things that you have done and you continue to do from the beginning, from my health to my wealth, from me to my family, from my family to my friends. I change it all the time, but I always say it. And then I ended by saying thank you, because I am grateful. I live in gratitude. And since I've lived in gratitude, I realized that my life is good. I live a very good life. I don't live a bad life. I live a good life. And I can't complain. And if I do, then I'm a hypocrite, because I don't live a bad life. And I owe it to the universe, to God, spirit, angels, guides, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I owe it to my surroundings of heavenly fields. Why? Because it was only when I learned to walk by faith and not by sight that everything became clear. So I no longer walk by faith, I walk by sight. Now, another important thing I do affirmations, okay? It's an affirmation that's on my phone, and I'm sure a lot of you have done it before. I do it, but it's not something that I wrote. This is something that somebody else wrote, which is, for the good of all and with harm to none. And then I say the amount that I want. In this case, the person wrote $5,000 is on his way to me. I don't want $5,000. I want $100 million. Do I deserve it? Yes. Is it owed to me? I believe that it is. So therefore, I ask for what I want. I will what I want. But at this particular time, whatever comes my way, I'm okay. I'm grateful for every little thing that I receive on a daily basis that comes from me from all over. I'm grateful for that. Because if you want God to multiply something, he, she, God cannot multiply 0 with 0, because it will only give you 0. So you have to have something that you want. You have to start putting something aside, even if it's $5, $10, $15. Put it aside, because that will give God the ability to multiply. In my house, there's money everywhere. There's money put away. There's money. There's change. There's quarters and nickels and dimes, at least $10 or $12 worth. And in the entrance, I have Saint Martin, and that jar is filled with money. And I'm not saying it because I want somebody to come in and break in my house, because I don't really care about that, or even believe that would happen, because I live in gratitude. But I'm just letting you guys know that living in gratitude is an amazing thing. And there are these things that I say. I think Dr. D and I were looking at something on TikTok, and I think that it was something, and I started to say it too. I don't work for money, money works for me. I don't work for money, money works for me. I don't work for money, money works for me. So not only do I wake up in the morning and do Pono, I also do, from the good of all, with the good of all, and with harm to none, I will receive ... I live in the gratitude of all the finances that come my way from different places and different people. I will be surprised on the speed and the agility that it will come to me. And for that, I live in gratitude. And for that, I ask to continuously give me until I receive my blessing. So that's how I start. So then now I've added, I don't work for money, money works for me. I don't work for money, money works for me. I don't work for money, money works for me. There are many affirmations that you can do, but let me explain something to you about affirmations. If you don't believe what you're doing, it's never going to work. If you go around life screwing people over, which I know a lot of mediums that have ridden on the backs of good mediums to get to what they want, and that's all good and fine. But you know what? If you live your life that way, you're only bound to fall. Eventually, you may not fall right away, but you will fall. You will fall out of grace. And you know what? Maybe you won't ever have anybody or anything happy in your life, because that is who you are and that is who you become. You can take all the spiritual baths you want and do all the spiritual things you want, but if you are with someone, or you're around something or some people that are not worth being around, then you need to release that energy, because that energy is toxic. You need to stop making excuses for yourself, but you also have to stop listening to people that will direct you and tell you, well, you shouldn't socialize with this one. You shouldn't I walk by faith. So I socialize with whoever I want to socialize with at that particular moment. If it doesn't work for me and something happens, then I let it go and I move on. Simple. You don't have to drive yourself crazy. You don't have to be crazy. And you don't have to live in that solitude, because that solitude can really drain you sometimes. Okay. So remember what we talked about, which was family values, and how family is so important. And it's so important for you to go out of your way to try to make peace with family, especially if they haven't done anything to you. Now, if they tried to kill you and they try to do things to you and they talk about you and they put you down, they're going to do everything in their power to try to make it right. But the question is, are you ready for that? Sometimes you're not ready. Sometimes you won't want to deal with that. Sometimes the best thing to do with family is to keep them away. And sometimes the best thing to do is for you to start over. And that's it. And that, to me, is part of walking by faith and not by sight. So with that being said, this mantra that was done is to release all of that that's in here, and you can do it every single day, right before the holidays. Just take a deep breath. Just remember that. And remember, it's like the alphabet. We're starting with A, okay? So, but we're not. It's not A. It's A. So it's And as you're doing it, just remember that your mind is very powerful. We can multitask. We can we can chant, we can breathe, and we can think about what we want to release in our lives. We can do it together. You don't have to wait, or you can't be one of those people who can't walk and chew gum at the same time. No, you have to be focused on what you're doing. You have to keep yourself going, and you have to understand that part of what you're doing is releasing what is not valuable to you anymore. Anything that you valued at one point, whether it be friends or family or exes or whatever, money, anything that you valued highly before that is no longer tangible or has caused you pain and grief, that is what you got to let go of. And how do you do that? By and by taking breaths. And but you have to place all that pain and sadness and these things that are taking over you. You have to place all that here in your head. As you take the deep breath, it's opening up a doorway. And when you start with the envision everything coming out and coming down this way and coming this way and going through the hole that's behind the uvula and coming from your throat back. So it's coming from two directions, from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. And it meets halfway, and then you don't have to do it loud. You can do it as low as you want. You can do it as long as you want. And you start to release. I release this. I release that. I release everyone and all actions that have been done to me while and before I found my love. So you start to release that. I release all the fighting and all the negativity that is there, that surrounds my home. And lastly, I forgive myself for holding on to all this pain and sadness and sorrow for so long that I kept making excuses for it and excuses for myself. And I blamed everyone else except myself. I didn't take ownership. And that is the most important thing. And you do that again. You and you release it. This is Ori, and this is coffee. This was Coffee with Ori. I'm going to leave. It's 9:52, so I'm going to let you go now. We're going to go to commercial, and I wish you a happy holiday. With all my heart and soul, I wish you light and love, prosperity, happiness, and joy. And if you can reach out to people that you haven't reached out to, reach out to them, because they are important and you are more important. Many blessings. Peace and love.